Morning, everybody. So this morning I'm going to look at fun, serious and serious fun Buddhist rituals. What's that about? Well, I got ordained in 1997 and I was involved with the Manchester Buddhist Centre. I still am. And after that, what happens often when people get ordained is they kind of don't rush into things, like just you're advised to take your time to kind of get used to being an older member, like for maybe up to 5 years, really. And because it's a completely new way of being, I suppose. But what I did after I got ordained was I started to get involved in doing something called the Festivals Committee in Manchester Buddhist Centre. So there was, at the time, we'd converted this warehouse in like 14,000 square foot warehouse into a Buddhist centre in the centre of Manchester. And then what happened was like little teams were formed called special interest groups to kind of put energy into different areas of the centre. So little sort of a special interest group formed with myself and Vidyamala, who's a mindfulness teacher, quite prominent around the world now, and Guna Ketu, who's Norwegian. He's the chair of Oslo Buddhist Centre. So yeah, we were all interested in rituals and stuff, and so we would start to kind of try and reinvigorate the that side of things, shrines and festivals and stuff, And at the time, it would be the case that people wouldn't really put much effort into festivals, and it would be a bit like the Buddhist equivalent of Christmas would, is called Buddha Day, which is celebrating the Buddha's enlightenment on the full moon day of May, and people would think, oh, it's Buddha Day next week, we better do something, So it just felt like kind of really inappropriate to what the festival was, given it was the most important, marking the most important event in our religion. So what we did was we started to kind of put some energy into that, and I came up with the idea of having a build-up, so we'd have some anticipation of the event, and we'd have things, maybe of a ongoing ritual or something that people could get involved in the build-up to the event itself. And then on the day, we'd put a lot of effort into the shrine and the decoration of the centre and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. So here's a little kind of thing I made that went on the notice board, and it was like marking how many days, how many weeks to go to Buddha Day. 6 weeks, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, movable thing. So it's just like playing, really. Yeah. So here's a kind of sort of thing that the way we used to decorate the Buddhist Centre. There's the Buddha there. So this is made a load of Bodhi leaves out of, well, sprayed onto paper. Kind of really kind of making an effort with marking the day. So this is what I'm going to be looking at today, kind of, here's a picture of me kind of doing some decorations, probably about 2000 or something, 98 or something, I don't know. Yeah, and one of the things that we did, in a way, it's like it worked quite well because Vidyamala was quite good at like the organisational side of things, holding that sort of space. But she's into ritual as well. And Guniketa was into ceremony, so like things like tea ceremonies and stuff. So he would sort of handle that side of things. And I was the main one doing the shrines and also coming up with sort of imaginative ideas to to wake people up a bit, really, around various topics. So the one of the things that we're going to talk about today is a ritual that we did in Manchester, where we took what I wanted to happen. What I wanted to happen was that we kind of became a bit more conscious of the place where we were as the Buddhist Centre. We built this Buddhist Centre, but it's a bit like just kind of making it more conscious that there's this whole city that we potentially needed to be sort of trying to relate to. So I did a ritual where I got people driving out into the city, in cars and stuff, and then tracing through the streets. I've got a map and then found the streets that made up particular shapes. So tracing through the streets, Buddhist symbols and stuff appropriate to that area. So I'll talk about that later. So yeah, it's kind of one of the things I'm really proud of is that ritual, even though it's maybe there weren't that many people at it, but yeah, it had a big effect on me, and it might have had a big effect on others as well. So you don't know, really. So I'll talk. So we'll begin with some body work. Sorry, I'm a bit. I did sleep last night, but I'm a little bit kind of like woo and a woo. Yeah, but I'll be better after doing some body work. So we'll do some body work now, and then try and get into the topic. If you want to stand up. Okay, well, let's begin by a bit of drumming on the top of your head. And feeling the contact of your feet and the ground. Sensations of the balls of your feet touching the ground and the heels of your feet. And how do your ankles feel at the moment? And your legs, the skin of your legs touching your clothing. And the drumming of the sound of the drumming on top of your head. So just trying to kind of inhabit our body a little bit more. Little raindrops on your head. Just on your collarbone. Just wake yourself up a bit with that. And then just put your hands over your forehead and curve your spine over so that you're turning away from the world towards you, turning inward. So just giving your head to your hands to be held. Being aware of your breathing on your wrists And then if you want to, just give your face a little bit of a wash with your hands. That's what I'm feeling. With your hands together. Backs of your hands. Shake your hands and feet out. And then just going over the top, try to wake up the top of your back and spine. Other side. And down your arm. Back of your hand. Up the inside. And then the other side. Chest. Sides. Circles on your stomach. And just lightly on your kidneys at the back there. And heavily on your buttocks. Backs of your legs. Down your legs if you can. Okay, shake everything out. And then just put your hands on your stomach and wait for your breathing to calm down. And then when you notice that you're breathing out, bending your knees, straighten your knees on the in-breath. So you're going down on the out-breath, coming up on the in-breath, down on the out-breath, up on the in-breath, down on the out-breath. And then bring your hands to the front and bring them up to your chin on the in-breath, and down on the out-breath. Again, up on the in-breath, and down on the out-breath. Next time, just go past your chin into the air and out to the sides. Again. And one last time. And then take a seat for meditation. So settling into your posture. And just allowing your body to just sit there, just reflecting that your body knows how to sit down. You don't need to hold it up in any way. You can just allow it to be there and just be balanced, and to be supporting your mind and your emotions in whatever state that they're in. And just having a sense of reassurance coming from your physical presence. Now we're going to do the mindfulness breathing practice in 4 stages. So in the first stage, watching the breath, sensations and movement in the breath coming and going, marking the end of the out breath with a count. So breathe in, breathe out, count 1, silently to yourself. Then breathe in, breathe out, count 2, and then 3, and keep going until you get to 10. And then the next breath, start from 1 again. Breathe in, breathe out 1, breathe in, breathe out 2. Anytime you get lost or can't remember the number that you're on, just start again from 1. Mindfulness of breathing. So now the second stage is shifting the counting to just before the breath begins. Count 1, breathe in, breathe out, 2, and so on, till you get to 10. And a third stage, just dropping the counting and just being aware of the breath as it passes through the body as continuously as you can. And maybe relaxing a bit more so that you're giving the breath some space to just be there itself without any interference. So now in the fourth stage, just watching the detail of the breath, where the breath at first enters the body, around the nose or mouth. What could you notice there? What sensations and movement is there in each moment? So in your own time, bringing that meditation to a close. All right then. So I think my task for today is to try and express something a bit coherent around ritual, and the title is serious, fun, serious, and serious fun Buddhist rituals. So basically, when we're looking to, if we're Buddhists, we're looking to become enlightened, become like the Buddha. If we're not Buddhists, we're kind of probably looking to have a life that's happier and fulfilling and that sort of thing. And we'll have particular ideas around what that will consist of. So for instance, it might be that we think that having a partner and having kids and having a life where we're kind of being responsible and passing on our skills to the younger generation, all that sort of thing. So we might think that that's what life's about, but what happens is people get married, and they have a ceremony, and that ceremony is like symbolic of that. A certain sort of commitment that they're making to each other and to that life, and to the kids and stuff that are going to come along as well. So what happens is you have a ceremony, you say certain verses, and you kind of do it in a particular context. So I suppose when a lot of people were Christians, it would sort of mean a lot more the church service side of things. But the fact that you're kind of doing a ritual is like, it's like marking that this is something of significance. So a ritual is like a symbolic action that we do, that is like saying that, oh, a certain thing is important and I need to remember it. So the reason I'm doing this ritual is to bring my emotions into contact with this and help me remember it. And often the way it's remembered is that we bring a lot of color into the whole thing, and we bring sort of ritual actions that are symbolic, like sort of exchanging a ring or something like that. And in this way, we have sort of something that's a bit formal. It's like a formality, and often formality is actually, behind it is. Behind it is like loving kindness, really. Behind it is like well-wishing. We want something to happen, therefore we're going to we feel something is important, therefore we give it actually some space. We sort of mark it in our experience, sort of thing. So it's like we're sort of saying, I want my life and those around me to be a good one, and if I'm going to have certain values, and I'm going to mark those values. So I'll just say along those lines. So I've got involved in Buddhafield. So Buddhafield is, I think the first time I went to Buddhafield was, I think it might be 1998 or something like that. And it used to be on a site. It's a small. In those days, it was a small festival of maybe about 2,000 people, and a lot of those people in those days were kind of from we're like New Age people, and it came out of like Buddhists responding to the sort of travellers culture. In fact, one of the people who's centrally involved in the kids area, Helen the Hat, today in this really kind of important part of Buddhafield, she was a part of a kind of Stonehenge convoy, you know, in the in the late 80s, you know. So it's like, yeah, so that kind of culture really. So yeah, Buddhists coming into contact with the New Age and the alternative culture. But over the years, Buddhafield I started to get involved in the ritual side of things at Buddhafield I think it was in about 2000. And over the years, the festival has grown to be about 4,000 people over 4 days. So, you know, when you've got a gathering of that many people, like over 4 days, one thing you could do is to just start the festival and say, okay, it starts at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, and not mark it or anything, you know, not sort of, you know. But people often enjoy having a ceremony, you know, where like an opening ceremony and a closing ceremony to the festival. So we kind of do this every year, and we often have a big ritual on the Saturday night as well, which is the sort of centerpiece ritual. So I was involved in the ritual team like 3 years running in the early 2000s, and we're often sort of trying to rack our brains for ways in which we can kind of like do something that's going to be symbolic and meaningful for the crowd and stuff, you know. So one particular year, it probably might have been about 2003 or something. You know, we were trying to think of something, and there was an old, very experienced hippie guy in a teepee called Phil, you know, and Phil said we were camped next to him, the ritual team, and Phil said, well, what about spiral dance? You know, why don't you do a spiral dance? So we worked out, we got a mower and we cut a spiral into the field, central of the field, and on the you know, in the opening ceremony, we gathered everybody together, and then I explained what we're going to do, and then I kind of led people into this spiral dance. So basically, the whole crowd started to join hands and then go around in a circle, and then facing inwards, and then when they got round to here, the first person, it was Phil actually leading it, turned inwards. So the crowd is then looking at the rest of it. So basically everybody passes each other. So these on the inside are looking inwards, and these on the outside are looking outwards, looking inwards. So people are kind of looking at each other as they pass. So basically, the point I said to people, just take each other in. These are the people you're going to be with for the next 4 days. So just receiving, you know, the other people, just and you know, maybe smiling, just taking everybody in. So basically, what happened was it just felt really powerful, because we had 450 people in this spiral, you know. So it basically spiraled, you know, it just kept spiraling inwards and inwards, and then spiraled outwards. So we ended up with 450 people holding hands in a circle. That's amazing. So here's a picture of that. So it's, you know, so everybody's you know, taking just taking in the other people. So everybody passed, everybody else, all 450 people, you saw or you took in all 450 people. So what that ritual did was it sort of set the tone for the festival, which is like, we're there together, we're going to make the best of our community for the next 4 days, and we're going to try and take people in. And this isn't, this is about us, trying to have a good time, but to do that within the context of bearing other people in mind as well. And sometimes rituals can be a bit unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And what happened was we had this massive circle with like 450 people in it, and then everybody decided to charge into the middle, like sort of a bunch of kind of like like Custer's Last Stand, and in fact there were some kids in the middle who got a bit frightened because it was all this 450 adults charging into the middle. So yeah, so that's an example of a ritual, and so ritual is like an action, but it's a symbolic action. So here we have, this is a symbol. This is an explanation of what a symbol is. So basically you got an eye here, and then the eye is trying to take in some reality. So the reality is, what was it in that case? It was that, we're all going to be there together for 4 days, and we want to sort of make the best of that and sort of take people in and, care for each other and all that sort of thing. So the symbol was the ritual where we looked at each other, took each other in the spiral dance. So what a ritual is, it's like, or symbol is, it's almost like a soft focus version of a reality. It's like it stands in for something. It like represents something. So it's a kind of form of play, really. So it's like we're playing at something when we do a ritual, or we're playing at. So, for instance, if we do a puja, which a puja is a devotional ceremony with verses to the Buddha and stuff, done in call and response. So you could think that when a bunch of Buddhists are doing that they're playing at, because the verses are so exalted, that you're not really being truthful in what you say in them, because that isn't you, but it's almost like you're playing at being something more than yourself, you're playing at being some sort of advanced Buddhist for whom those verses would be true, So this is a way of seeing ritual and seeing symbolism. It's a form of play. So over the years, I was involved in ritual sort of quite a lot in the early 2000s, and I started to think, it'd be good to actually come up with some theory around ritual. Because it's always good to give something to the rational mind to chew on, if it's feeling kind of, what is all this, so that the idea of play, symbolism being play, was one central idea I came up with, and so in a way, I'll just kind of take us through this. I've explained this before, but I'll go through it again. So this comes from like the 5 Buddha mandalas. So the 5 Buddha mandala 5 Buddhas arranged in this sort of arrangement. So in the middle is Vairocana, the white Buddha, in this sort of arrangement. So in the middle is Vairocana, the white Buddha, and then you've got Akshobhya, dark blue Buddha. So that whatever's in the middle of the mandala is often white, in Buddhism, and white in a way represents kind of coming into contact with reality. So when people have like white light experiences after if the people die and come back to life, sometimes they have this, they see this white light, and it's like this white light is like the light of reality or accepting reality or something like that. So in the center of the mandala it's always white, and then you've got colors in each of the 4 directions. So you've got Akshobhya is dark blue, and then you've got Ratnasambhava is yellow, and you've got Amitabha is red, and Amoghasiddhi is dark green. So these 5 Buddhas kind of, in a way, represent different aspects of enlightenment. So Akshobhya represents wisdom, or seeing things as they really are. The Ratnasambhava represents value in things. His symbol is the jewel. So it's like aesthetic appreciation or beauty, or the wisdom of equality, that sort of thing, abundance. And then Amitabha is seated in meditation posture. So you could say he represents what we put our mind, what we're trying to put our mind on, that we have faith in, what we're trying to focus on, what we're discriminating about, like what we're going to choose to invest in, that sort of thing. And then Amoghasiddhi, he's got a fearless mudra like that. And he's associated with action. So it's a bit like when we take our meditative states into the world, they can disintegrate because the world is just chaotic. So we need to be fearless in taking our values into the world and not running away, or that sort of thing, and being successful in the world. So we need to have certain kind of robustness, not just be calm in meditation then fall to pieces. And then Vairocana is more sort of like about teaching. So he's got a Dharma chakra wheel in his hand. So it's like teaching the Dharma, and he's got a teaching mudra as well. But you could say that really teaching in Buddhism is really about transformation. You come into contact with the guru and you're transformed. The point is to become enlightened, like the guru, like the Buddha, like Vairocana. So with this, I've called this functional imagination. I really came up with this yesterday, this diagram and this title. So yeah, functional imagination. So this is imagination that leads to benefit, to well-being, to enlightenment, it's like the positive form of imagination where it's actually creative and helpful. So basically, when we're dealing with poetry, the first thing that we need to do, so this is wisdom, this is the wisdom of Akshobhya, is we need to take it poetically, and not literally. Don't take it literally. So it is unwise to take poetry literally, because that's not what it is. It is its own thing. It's kind of play. It's like this playful approach to reality. So the opposite diagram for this, the dysfunctional imagination or fantasy. Here you've got literalism. So you don't get anywhere. You don't get. You don't have a positive transformation through literalism, you have a negative transformation. Life gets worse, when we have fantasy, and or we take symbolism literally and then block it. So that's the first thing. Poetic on the one hand, literal on the other. Poetic good, literal bad. Okay, so then in the mandala we move from the east, which is Akshobhya's realm, to the south. So that's Ratnasambhava. So what Ratnasambhava represents in a way is the value, the inherent value of the symbol. Is it a good symbol or not? Is it of high value or not? So it's a bit like the Sistine Chapel is an example of a symbol of high value. It contains a lot of meaning. It's emotional. I just cried when I went in there. It's so powerful. It's like it's transformative. Like it's great art. So there needs to be some sort of greatness in our symbol. It needs to be really communicating something of the transcendental to us, and it has to, in a way, it also has to contain kind of right view. It's got to be taking us in the right direction. So for a Buddhist, it would, it might be that Christian symbols kind of elevate us and things like that, like music, Christian music, whatever. But ultimately, maybe the Buddha needs to be in there for it to be of the highest value, that the symbol. And then the opposite of that, dysfunctional imagination or fantasy, is that you have a symbol that's not very elevated. It's like a Hollywood blockbuster or something. It's not got much in it. As Morrissey would say, it doesn't tell me anything about my life or something like that. Says nothing to me about my life. So it's like, so your symbol needs to be saying something important to you, for your life. And then we come around to Amitabha, and Amitabha is like meditation, and he's associated with the Jodo Shinshu school in Japan, which is about faith. So what's important once we've got a symbol here, the symbol might be a story. Actually, it might be a myth. It might be the myth of like Santa Claus. For instance, if you're a child. So if you don't believe in Santa Claus, so this is belief here, belief or skepticism. So obviously you should believe in things that are helpful. So if Santa Claus, if it's helpful to believe in Santa Claus because it makes you a better person, because he's exemplifying generosity, then that's good, isn't it? Believe. If you're skeptical, then like Richard Dawkins said, he'd stopped believing in Santa Claus when he was 2. If you're skeptical, it's not going to help you, is it? If it's a good myth, but you're skeptical about it because you're skeptical of all myths, then that's going to block progress. So imagination is going to not be helpful. It's going to take you in the opposite direction if you're skeptical, when you could believe, actually act as if it's the case. Obviously, we need to be skeptical about things that aren't helpful or aren't useful myths and stuff. And then we come around to belief good, skepticism bad. Then we come around to action, Amoghasiddhi's Siddhi's realm. Like I said, people do rituals. So ritual is a symbolic action. So people get married, they have a ceremony, and all that sort of thing. So when we do rituals, so people can do rituals for different reasons, and you can join in something out of sense of like wanting to be part of a group, or out of fear, like superstition, voodoo and all that, so it's like, when you cross your fingers, that's like a sort of superstitious act, you're hoping for the best, but it's kind of like slightly done out of out of sort of, not out of awareness, but it's like it's done almost like out of fear, but Amog said is fearless. So with ritual, it's like we have the opportunity to bring into the world our values, and kind of put display to ourselves and to other people, this is what I believe in. Or we can play around at that, play around at believing, do I believe in enlightenment, so do a puja with a bunch of other people, and what comes up is fear, it's like, what am I doing here? I'm exposing myself to things, do I really want to offer a stick of incense to the shrine, sort of thing. So it's like, but you'd have a Tibetan Buddhist in a cave in Tibet doing, all sorts of pujas to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas out of true devotion. So that action, that coming into repetitive ritual, Tibetan monks doing pujas is like, it's like real devotion. It's not done out of fear or superstition. It's done out of commitment and stuff like that. So yeah. So we with symbolism, it's important that we do rituals, we do actions and things that reinforce our values, and in a way kind of bring them into the world a bit. So if we can go through all of this, so here, true devotion good, superstition bad. So Dawkins is critical of superstition. Yeah, it's right. It's like you're doing things out of fear. You need to be doing things out of fearlessness, really, and with your eyes wide open, and go, yeah, I know why I'm doing this. I'm doing it for these reasons and that sort of thing. So anyway, so if we do this whole process under functional imagination, what happens is we end up in the middle, and what's in the middle is positive transformation. So through doing the ritual, we move closer to enlightenment. Our values, our emotions move, move towards enlightenment. We're inspired by beauty. We start to believe in the symbols and want to engage with those symbols regularly, and then we do rituals and meditations in relation to them, and so our mind becomes like perfumed by those, and emotions become perfumed by what the symbol represents. So and then that makes us want to actually be more Buddhist, more in line with the values of enlightened values, compassion, wisdom, and all that sort of thing. So this is functional imagination, and then dysfunctional imagination is the opposite, where it's fantasy. What we end up is in a state of delusion. We end up further away from enlightenment, from reality. So for instance, if we we watch a lot of superhero movies, and we kind of get into the fantasy of it, but we never become better people. We just sort of fantasize. It's a myth. What the thing that we're engaging in. So I suppose the test is that with imagination per se, the proper imagination is that we have to be changing and being transformed. So I was doing some research and writing on Coleridge yesterday, and he talks about where is it? I'll find it. He says, a poet described in ideal perfection brings the whole soul of man into activity, and women as well, with and he has the word SM plastic, which I think he used this the other day, which means to shape into one. So it's like we're being shaped into one, but informed by those higher values. That shape is the shape which is actually going to be helpful to the world. Okay, so hopefully you've got a sense of what we're trying to do with ritual. So the topic of today's is fun, serious, and serious fun rituals. So Buddhist rituals. So I'm just going to talk about this ritual that we did in Manchester, and because it was fun. Yeah. So here's the poster for it that I did, Dharma Day. So it was Dharma Day. I think it was 2000. Citywide ritual, sowing the seeds of the Dharma in Manchester. So when people came into the shrine, this is the shrine room in Manchester Buddhist Centre. So we've got this beautiful building with where we've exposed the brick. It's a warehouse. So we've exposed we've sandblasted with 5 stories of building. We've sandblasted all the brick and everything. So we've got this beautiful shrine room. And here's me, and that's Karen, and there's other people you can't see. And so in the centre of the room is this 5 Buddha mandala. So I've talked about the 5 Buddha mandala, the different colours, of the different Buddhas, and then so people came into the room, and I sort of explained what we're going to do. So what we did was, so what this is called a seed syllable, right? So if you think of, it's just a symbol basically. So it's a particular symbol for something specific. So this seed syllable is called Hri. So Hri is associated with the red Buddha Amitabha, who's associated with love and compassion. And in a way, what it is, it's like it's just like a cross is a symbol for Christ. This is a symbol for, this particular shape is a symbol for Amitabha and for the Buddha of love, the dark red Buddha of love. So it's like when we have a seed symbol, it can just, with any symbol, it's like when we first see it, we think, what the hell is that, But as we kind of come into relationship with it and keep doing things in relationship to it, like imagining it, or if it's a mantra, if we're chanting a mantra, then we get used to it, and it does start to become for us, a kind of channel that becomes our way in, to Amitabha, to enlightened compassion. It starts to become that when we see it. It reminds us, oh yeah, this is enlightened compassion. So, so each of the 5 Buddhas has a seed syllable of his own. So my idea was to look at a map of Manchester, and so here is here's central Manchester. So this is Piccadilly Gardens and Portland Street. Yeah, so right smack bang in the middle of Manchester. So what I did was I thought, oh, actually, what streets, if I put them together, make up the seed syllable that's for the centre, that's Varochana's seed syllable, which is Om. So this is basically an Om made out of roads, the white bits that you can see there. So the basic idea was that in the centre of the shrine room, there were maps with the seed symbol drawn on them, and also kind of coloured rice. So there'd be like white rice for the centre there. So what people did was we chanted a mantra, and then they came forward, and we'd arranged all this beforehand, and people took a map and took the rice, and then they went out into Manchester, different parts of Manchester, and sort of sprinkled the rice on the particular roads, that they were, that made up the seed syllable. So and we want to cover the whole of Manchester, so this is a map of Manchester, and then we've got the different seed syllables: Om, Hri, Trang, Hung, and Ah, which belong to the different Buddhas. So what happened was that people kind of got into cars and then went out, or one person was on a bike, went to Ordenshaw, yeah, and basically, we were chanting this mantra, and then they were out there sprinkling rice in different parts of Manchester, in Eccles in the east here, in Moss Side, Ordenshaw, and Prestwich or something. Yeah, so the point behind this was it's almost like, you can see that, you can think like, Manchester is just a lot of brick buildings and roads and things, and it's like a material world, material realm, well, it is that. It is, there is a physical side to Manchester, but it's also it's like a field of possibility, of spiritual possibility. So when we went and traced all the seed syllables around Manchester, in rice, in cars, it was like saying, yeah, Manchester is a spiritual realm that, all these people, have the possibility for development and to be manifesting the qualities of the five Buddhas, the wisdoms of the five Buddhas, the enlightened qualities of the five Buddhas. And, the centre had been we'd opened the centre about 4 years before this. And one of the reasons I wanted to do the ritual was just to kind of make people think more about what the whole place was for, why it was there and what the potential was for it. So ritual is often sort of mysterious in the way that it works, and it's said that, be careful about what rituals you do, because they can be quite powerful, So I think when people get married, so they do a ritual there, and then, if they get divorced like 3 years later or something like that, on a certain level, as part of them is like disappointed, because they had this commitment, these values, and somehow they've failed with it, So it's like, it's important that what rituals we get involved in, because we don't know the effects, they can be quite powerful, really. So I know that, some of the people who were involved in this ritual in the cars and stuff, went on to do kind of significant things, with their Buddhism. And it had a big effect on me doing this, because it was like, whoa, that was imaginative. Yeah. And then a few years later, I kind of did another one in Sheffield. So Sheffield Buddhist Centre used to be in a kind of rented property in sort of, I think, Glossop Road or something like that. And then what happened was they bought a church and then converted it to a Buddhist centre. So I kind of went over to Sheffield with it, and on a weekend did a similar thing to the cars ritual, but just on foot, So what we did was we traced Om Mani Padme Hung. This is the famous Om Mani Padme Hung, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, who the Dalai Lama is said to be an embodiment of, So this is Om Mani Padme Hung, and often what's the way that this mantra is used is that the different syllables go. Imagine going off into the different realms of the 6 realms, and help beings in that realm. So the Om goes to the God realm and helps the gods, teaches them about impermanence, and Ma goes off to the Ashura realm, the powerful, jealous gods, the competitive, powerful people like the business people, helps them, gives them a sword of wisdom. And then the Ni goes to the human realm, helps the people in the human realm who often just need a spiritual path. Ni Pa goes to, I think, the animal realm. And so the Buddha has a book in the animal realm. It's like what animals need is a bit of culture and stuff. That's the next thing they need. Deme goes to the hungry ghost realm, the sort of realm of addictive tendencies. Maybe it helps people who are kind of alcoholics and stuff. And Hung helps people in the hell realm. People are really suffering a lot. So there's a bodhisattva called Shittigarbha who goes down into the hell realm, helps people. So we can sort of think of, like, as we traced the Om Mani Padme Hung through the streets of Sheffield on the way from the old centre to the new centre, it was like saying, well, this is what we want to be doing. We want to be helping all these beings in these different realms to become enlightened. And as I said, it's like, it's play, it's not to be taken literally. It's just something that's like perfume. It's like you do a ritual that kind of perfumes your mind with something, it turns, hopefully, it helped turn Sheffield into a different sort of place in people's minds that did the ritual, I just did. So sometimes along the same lines, play. Just quickly, here's one that's so a stupa. So a stupa is like, this is a stupa here. It's like you see them all over Tibet and Nepal. So it's a symbol of often a lama. You'll have a lama kind of, his ashes will be put inside a stupa. So it's like a symbol for enlightenment, but often associated with death. So on every year there's a festival called Parinirvana Day, and on that's what it marks the parinirvana, or the final passing away of the Buddha. It's the death of his physical body. So it's often used as a festival to reflect upon death and upon reality, that as a reality. And people often bring their photos of people that they've known, friends and family who've died that year, as a way of just kind of remembering them and things. So one thing that we did one year was to I kind of designed how to make a stupa out of cardboard boxes. So this is the plan, how to do it. So a team of us spent quite a bit of the morning or day just making this stupa out of cardboard boxes, and it's just, when we were doing it, what can happen sometimes is, particularly when you're putting something on like a ritual, you can get a bit wound up with the practical side of doing it, having decorating the centre or whatever. And I noticed that happening with the team, and in myself as well. And I thought, actually, this isn't appropriate. So if you're making an offering to the Buddha, which is what this is, it's like it's inappropriate to get into a negative mental state about it, because what you're then offering is you're also offering that negative mental state to the Buddha. It's kind of a little bit sort of like disrespectful to get into a state when you're trying to do something like that. So what I encouraged people to do as we were making this stupa was to keep checking themselves and just not be end gaining about it. We're just doing it mindfully, and if we finish it, we finish it. If we don't finish it, we don't finish it, and that's it, And that was just like really helpful to have that attitude. So then when the stupa was there, we did finish it, then it had a much better feeling for us, And finally, just one last one I did, which was when I was ordained in 1997, and in those days, there's quite a lot of encouragement for people to take Buddhism abroad. Like most of the movement is either in Britain or in India, with people in Australia and people around Europe. But there were lots of countries where there was no Triratna Buddhist presence or FWO presence in those days. About 4 times a year, there'd be in the order, we'd have a kind of order weekend with a theme. And one year, I was involved in doing the theme, and I thought I'd do like a ritual, which was about taking the Dharma abroad. So what I did was on, put a map of the world on the floor of the shrine room in front of the stupa there, and then as people came into the shrine room, I gave them these cards. So this is this is all the different countries of the world. So this is like somewhere called Palau near in Australasia, or Papua New Guinea, Greece, Belarus. So everybody got one of these. When all the male order members got one of these as they came in the shrine room. They're going, "What's this?" And then I explained it, and then we did a mantra, and then people came up and put their card onto the map where that place was, and one of the preceptors said on the weekend, he says that it wasn't us, like the preceptors wanting people to go abroad and stuff. But as I said, it's play basically. So you could have people taking this literally and going, am I committing myself to going to Palau and setting up a Buddhist centre there, but yeah, no, it's not the point. The point is that it's just expressing a particular idea that, in some way or other, each of us needs to be kind of going beyond our comfort zone and maybe sort of taking Buddhism to, beyond just where it is now, and obviously doing it in a way which is, not proselytizing, but just attracting people in, through embodiment or something like that. So yeah, so it's been a lot of fun really doing rituals and at Buddhafield and also Manchester Buddhist Centre, and but it all has this serious side to it. It also has this it's this approach to reality. It is always about something. It's about something important, and just like we're doing the spiral at Buddhafield, it's about the important thing of connecting up with each other and not just kind of having a good time and all that sort of thing. And play is really important for kind of learning really. In fact, I think that's probably what it's mainly about. When kids play at doctors, nurses, or whatever it is. They don't do that anymore, no. But cowboys, ninjas, it used to be as well in ancient history. But it's like approaching some aspect of reality that's needs to be taken in some sort of kind of slow way, So yeah, all play, all symbolism. Symbolism is kind of form of adult play, really. It's all about this. It is about something. It is about learning to be with a particular reality or something like that. But yeah, but we have all the colour and everything, which is there to help our emotions engage with it. This is really important. So, okay, so that's it for today, and see you next week. Okay, bye bye.